All right, some fill in the blank. And when I saw these categories, my first thought was, oh, please don't make us do this because, look, we're just having fun here.
Right.
Don't take us out of context. We're not reporting anything. We're just having some fun. First trade of the draft, blank.
Right. Like, I mean, this isn't inside info. My best friends in the world in the NFL, they're not telling me what they're picking or who they're thinking of trading to. Are you kidding me? That's what is crazy. People think like certain things. Here's what I'm going to go with as the first trade of the draft. You've heard me talk about offensive linemen a lot. I think we could see a run on them go in the 20s, right? My first trade will be, I'm going to call the Seahawks trade with the Colts. I'm just playing the angle that there's going to be a run of offensive linemen. The Seahawks need somebody on their O-line. We've been talking about their O-line getting better for 8 years now. They need to do it. I got to think that's at the forefront of their draft strategy here. I'm going to say they get a little scared. They see a run. They're going to make sure they get one of the guys they want. They trade to the Colts. The Colts move down a few spots. That's the first one I'll call here for the sake of this fun little exercise.
I'm going to lean farther into something that we just kind of riffed our way into earlier. Patriots trading out of that 4 spot for somebody to come get Genty before the Jaguars can. The more I think about it, the more I like it. But I also like the idea of the Patriots taking him. But if there's a trade to be had, and the Patriots fall into that category of team that could use more lottery tickets.
They said it a few weeks ago.
And if you've got a guy that is coveted, whoever it would be that would come up, the Bears come up, the Cowboys come up, some team in the teens that, could benefit from a Saquon Barkley-style workhorse come up. Patriots move down, and they get more pieces that they can use to build out the team that they want to build around Drake May at quarterback.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. There's going to be something that happens in the first 10, 12, 15 picks there that's unforeseen. Is it a trade? Is it a crazy pick? Whatever, but that's why it's exciting tonight.
All right, don't be surprised if.
Okay. I got 2 things here. I don't know which one's better. Okay. The first one, you've heard me say, don't be surprised if one quarterback gets picked in the first round. Is that a good enough one? I mean, don't be surprised. But I've been saying that. I think the other one, and maybe this is better, is don't be surprised that Tetairoa McMillan gets drafted in the top 10. He's someone that was not put in that category through a lot of mock drafts and people, but I just know there's a lot of teams that like him in the top 10. And he is definitely viewed as the top receiver in the draft. And like an Ashton Genty, one of the safe, freakier guys on the offensive side of the ball that you can build an offense around in that way. And that's a guy that I think is going to surprise people. He comes off the board a little earlier than everybody expected.
I was a little dust up with him and Todd McShay.
Oh, is it really?
The Ringer now, I believe. Kind of like McShay was saying that once they had the coaching change at Arizona, he didn't love football or something happened with his game, and don't compare him to Drake London. It's an insult to Drake London. It was, and McMillan clapped back a little bit as the kids say. I just hate that phrase, clap back, and I shouldn't say it out loud because now I'm going to get a bunch of emails just that say clap back. But anyway, I saw something about that last night, and again, there were no anonymous sources attached to it, but when you're working the phones and talking to different people, you're going to pick up different impressions. And it was just something negative about McMillan, that he should fall, not that he should be taken early. Of course, that all may have on it the fingerprints of someone who would love to see him fall. That's one of the reasons why I don't like any of this stuff pre-draft, because it ultimately can impact a kid's livelihood and where he goes, although it may be in his interest to go later. Don't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers finds a way to Bigfoot the day.
That's your one?
Right?
Okay.
Right? I mean, hey, it's part of the whole experience. Think back to 4 years ago. We're minding our own business, getting ready for the draft, and then boom, Aaron Rodgers may get traded. Holy crap, he might? And that was when it came out that, remember, they told him they would trade him to the 49ers if he wanted to be, and then he went back, and they're like, oh, sorry, didn't mean that. And during the whole draft, the question was, are the Broncos going to pull a trade for him? I just feel like he's going to find a way to Bigfoot the day. I feel like that was a reason for last Thursday as we enter draft week. Hey, everybody, remember me, I'm here. I just have a feeling there's going to be something today about Aaron Rodgers that will Bigfoot the proceeding.
I hear. Well, it feels like every year, kind of leading up to the draft, we have something that breaks along NFL news that gets thrown out there. What will it be? Right? But I do feel like we've seen that the last few years, 20, 30 minutes before the draft really starts, we get some sort of big news drop from Shefty or somebody, and somebody upstages a little bit the draft itself. So, yeah.
Will you have a gas mask and a bong tonight in your barn?
Nope, I won't. I don't either one. I don't own a gas mask or a bong. So, nope, I won't have that.
And please, not inhale, but inflate your balloons with your exhale, as we suggested yesterday. I will be surprised if what?
I will be surprised. All right, excluding Travis Hunter, because we don't know really what. I will be surprised if more than 2 receivers go in the first round. I think all you see is Tetairoa McMillan and Matthew Golden from Texas go off the board in the first round at wide receiver. That would be mine. Or maybe I should say Emeka Buka, if he gets drafted in the first round, I will be surprised, right? A lot of people say he's going to be that next guy that go. I'm not necessarily real high on him personally, but I think, receivers become a big deal in the NFL, and to only have like 2 real receivers in the first round go, that's kind of big news.
Look, and we're going to talk about our mock drafts later, and I'm very open about this. I don't compile it. I don't change it. I trust the guy that has been doing it for me for the past several years. I'm not into it anymore. After 25 years, there are certain things you don't care about anymore, and I don't care about the mock draft. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying I don't care. I say that because in our mock draft, Shedeur Sanders is going 26 to the Rams, and there's also the possibility they trade out of that spot to someone who comes and gets him. But I will be surprised if the Steelers don't take him at number 21. I will be surprised.
Okay.
If he's there and they don't take him, because Mike Tomlin talked at length about Shedeur Sanders at the pre-draft press conference this week in very glowing terms. And I was on 93.7 The Fan yesterday in Pittsburgh. I'm on every Wednesday afternoon, and they made a great point. Tomlin never talks about specific prospects, never. And he went on and on about Sanders and the intangibles. And
I could see him liking that, right.
And they desperately need a quarterback, and they've been waiting on bended knee for Aaron Rodgers. If he's there at 21, and see, they don't care about getting jumped. They don't play games. They don't delve into smoke screens. My first thought was, well, hey, Tomlin is doing a much more artful job than the Raiders were doing last week to sell people on this notion that they want Ashton Genty when they really don't. Mike Tomlin's got no time for any of that crap. He's not going to try to play a game where maybe somebody will trade up in front of us and take Shedeur Sanders and push down the board the guy we really want. I feel like if he's there, they're going to take him, and I'll be surprised if they don't.
That'd be interesting. I could totally see him liking the intangibles. Again, that's one of the things I like about him, and I'm not big into doing that and like basing my evaluation off that, but I do think it's a little hard to not with Shedeur. I do think there's something there with him there, and I could see Mike Tomlin liking that. I could also see Mike Tomlin overemphasizing his like because he doesn't like the negativity and some of the talk, just like you don't, about Shedeur. So he just made a point to go, I'm going to say some good things about him because man to man, I don't like what people are doing to this kid. And he's that kind of human being that he would do that as well. So I wouldn't be shocked either way, Mike. I hear you there.
When we first stumbled down that rabbit hole of maybe coaches are going to shy away from Shedeur Sanders for fear of signing their own pink slip, and that this is some sort of 5D chess in which Dion is engaging to get Shedeur to fall, and where would he want him to fall? To a coach who does not care about any outside noise, is not intimidated by the possibility of Deion Sanders eventually taking his job, will ignore anything and everything that Dion has to say and just focus on his team. And it's Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. When I started going through that mental exercise of what could Dion be trying to do here, getting him to Pittsburgh was what I thought, and maybe that will be a great spot for him. But if he does end up in Pittsburgh, Dion better be careful, because if Dion starts popping off, do you think Tomlin is going to take it? Do you think Tomlin is going to shrink away from it? Tomlin will let him have it. Tomlin will get him on the phone And he'll say, man, I'm
Agreed.
trying to do my job here.
Yeah.
What the hell are you trying to do? You worry about your team and I'll worry about mine. He's not on your team anymore. He's on my team.
Agree. Well, I think Dion would probably know that already. He'd know that. Warren Sapp's there. Warren Sapp played with Mike Tomlin. I think they probably know who they're dealing with there, and everybody knows who they're dealing with here in this type of situation.
All right, last one. The player we're not talking about enough, other than Cam Ward.
Yeah, right. He wins the award.
Other than Cam Ward and Robbie Amell.
Here's one that I'll throw that I think people in the league love, and nobody's really talking about him for the reasons you always say. The kid from Boston College, Donovan Ezeraku, the pass rusher. He's special. He's got some things about him. I feel like a lot of teams are kind of laying in the weeds in the late teens, 20s, kind of just hoping nobody takes him. He's one of the better pass rushers in the draft. He does everything well. Physical, got some long damn arms, got some bend about him. He's a guy that needs to get a little more attention.
Well, and you sold me on Omarion Hampton. I feel like he's not even the sidekick to Ashton Genty. It's Genty, and no one else. But, Hampton, at the end of the day, could be as good in the NFL.
Yeah.
He could be the guy. I mean, Derrick Henry was a second-round pick.
That's right.
And I don't know where you have Hampton going in your mock, but, the Broncos are clearly looking. And the Broncos, I mean, they may not have him there at 20.
No, I gave him 12 to the Cowboys.
The Broncos are just a piece or two away from being a team that the Chiefs really have to worry about. And they get a running back who can make a big impact. And Sean Payton doesn't use one guy and one guy only, but if you get a guy that can have an Alvin Kamara type of an impact, even though it's different playing styles, but if you get a guy that can have that kind of impact and open up your passing game, all of a sudden the Broncos need to be taken even more seriously than they are.
Agreed. I had the Broncos going Tetairoa McMillan at pick 20, and here's full disclosure. I told people this on my podcast yesterday. When my mock draft got released, those were the two things. I got two things from people in the NFL right away. And the first one was, you're too low on Tetairoa McMillan. I would be shocked if he's at 20 with the Broncos. Blah, blah, blah. Team likes him. A few minutes later, I had another team text me and kind of say the same thing. And that's why I said Tetairoa McMillan in the top 10. Too many people I've talked to think, though, that because he would be a great fit for Sean Payton, too. The other name, just to throw out this for draft, Mykel Williams. I had him going pick 32 to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was the other name I got pushed back in the NFL to go, it's way too low. He's going to go way higher than that. He's going in the top 20, and a lot of people believe, and we saw this yesterday and we talked about it, that the Saints at number 9 are all over Mykel Williams, and that's why the odds for Shedeur Sanders at 9 have dropped out of that, because there's a lot of people in the league that think they're hot on Mykel Williams. Those are two names that I think are going to surprise people when they come off the board a little early.
Yeah, they dropped dramatically for Shedeur Sanders to the Saints, and Mykel Williams became the betting favorite. That's one of those that almost smacks of inside information.
Right? It seems like that.
But there's still 8 picks before. Remember, the Panthers hold the key to screwing up whatever the Saints are trying to do, because they can trade out of that spot with whoever wants to come up and get the guy that the Saints would target. All right. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.